Hi from Wuhan in the afternoon. Well, actually, it's 6:42 p.m., so evening. The light coming in through the window is some nice hazy sunset. We have spent the day. It's been a really relaxed day actually. This morning I slept in, and then for lunch we went and we met with some of the seminary students from the registered seminary, the one that's legal here. We met with them and we had lunch with them and we just heard about them and their lives here, when they became Christians, how long they've been at the seminary, things like that. We had a wonderful lunch. Then this afternoon we went from lunch. We went to Mr. Mai's coffee shop, which is actually a really nifty business idea. It's run by this couple from the States who've been over here for a long time, from what I understand. And he has a coffee shop with actual coffee here in China. He has a couple of coffee shops actually, and the premise is you can go there and have coffee and sit and speak in English. So, students from the area, especially, they go there to practice speaking in English, and it's great. So we were there. So we were really popular there. We spent, I think we got there around 2 and we just left around 6. So we were there for 4 hours. We had a whole bunch of people, and they just want to speak English, practice speaking English with you. And it was a really interesting experience. I met a couple of college students, a sophomore and a senior, um, a junior and a senior, and one's in computer engineering, a software engineering, and one's in civil engineering. And the one of the young men, I said something, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, are you a Christian?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Oh, I am too. I was baptized a few days ago." And so that led to some really interesting discussion. Uh, I ended up gracefully bowing out of that discussion. It got very intense and academic, and there were 4 people speaking all at the same time, and I think it was getting a little confusing for him. So I turned and I spoke with another person, a man who joined our table. He works. It was really interesting actually. He works for the government radio station. From what I understand, he writes news reports, and essentially he writes what his boss tells him to write. And he was telling us, not to get too detailed about what he said, but he was telling us that doesn't matter if it's true or false, it's what the government says to write. That is what they share, and it was an enlightening discussion actually. And yeah, he shared his frustration with his job because he said he doesn't need to use his brain. He just says what people tell him to say. And he shared how that is disheartening and a little frustrating, and he really feels no purpose. And so asked him, well, what do you do? What do you do for fun? And just one second. There we go. To get my computer charging. So we asked him, what do you do for fun? Do you have hobbies? And the only thing he could come up with is he said, well, I take my girlfriend shopping. And then he told us about how he goes to Hong Kong and he spends crazy amounts of money shopping, and he gambles, and he said he doesn't smoke or drink. So he goes to the coffee shop and practices his English, and he wants to travel. And he's the first person that I've talked to who went to university outside of China and returned to China. He went to university in New Zealand. So I had a really good conversation. A lot of it was spent listening to one of our hosts, who's from Hong Kong, and him just interacting back and forth, hearing questions asked by the host and answered by this man. But it was interesting. It was good to hear that kind of conversation and to be able to talk to somebody who's not a Christian, and who doesn't go to church and who isn't even searching, from the sounds of it. But He was very much a part of the more elite side of China's workforce and culture, in that he makes a good living. His job is something that a lot of people would love to have, and his salary is something that a lot of people would really like to have. But he's not happy. I think that's very common across cultures. That it kind of goes to show you that money and prestige and power don't necessarily answer life's questions for you, and it can be hard to find meaning in these things. And so it's easier to connect with the lower class, and it's easier to connect with people who have less money, because they're in a more, just to simplify it, they're in an easier target group because they're desperate and they're searching for some sort of solution, and God provides that emotional, spiritual connection that they need in order to survive, to keep going. And it takes people who are rich, who are well off. It takes them a lot longer to realize. Sometimes it takes them a lot longer to realize that there is a void and there is something that needs to be filled. So it was a good discussion today. Beyond that, the team just left to go to supper at our hosts here in Wuhan. They're having spaghetti, very Western, well, Italian supper. I feel not great, so I have bowed out, and I'm going to be staying here and napping, or actually sleeping for the night very, very soon. And a couple quick cultural notes. We got to see what it's like to have something stolen. One of our hosts had a bicycle stolen from the hotel front. They have a guard in the parking lot watching over the cars and the things that are left there, and he left his bike chained in the parking lot, chained to a bike rack, I believe, right by the building, and it's gone now. And we've only been gone maybe 6 hours, 7 hours. So over the course of the day, his bike was taken, and the guard obviously did not notice, or had no reason to stop the person if they did notice. But so that was an experience, and it's interesting staying at a hotel where there is a guard posted in the parking lot. We're staying in a hotel that's actually on the university campus. There are 1.5 million students here, so there are more students in this city than there are people in Nova Scotia, which is funny and interesting. And so they have a hotel on campus, and it's a fair-sized hotel. It's 13 floors, which is a weird number for me to think of as them having 13 floors. You'd think they would have sprung for the 14th, but no. 13 floors in the hotel, and a large staff, and a fair amount of rooms, and things are stolen. And it's on a campus. It's on a university campus. This is crazy to me. One final note, and then I'm going to say goodbye. This is a bag of goodies from a coffee shop just to the side of campus. It's a delicious coffee shop, but what I have from there is some juice, which I'm going to enjoy. Hopefully it will help abate my cold. And this super awesome croissant thing that kind of, it doesn't really appeal to me now, but I'm sure at some point in the near future I will enjoy it greatly. This is some Chinese Dole orange juice. How's that for familiarity? It's orange juice, which is not that common here. It's orange juice, then it's Dole, which we have in Canada too. So, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to go to sleep, and I will be speaking with you all soon. FYI, 4 days from now, I will be on the way home. Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday. Friday we start flying home. Saturday we get home. I'm looking forward to some good old Canadian life. Bye bye.